Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about Death Prophet. This is a game I just played. I'll quickly show it to you, but I went 19-4. I even trolled a little bit. But a pretty crazy match. I'm going to show you how to play Death Prophet in today's video. Really great hero right now. Honestly, I thought after the patch, considering they nerfed the hero's movement speed by 40. Was it 30? 30 or 40. Either way. I thought the hero was dead, but they changed it where the movement speed is shifted to the ulti, so when you have your ulti, you have the same movement speed as before. This obviously makes Death Prophet a worse laner, but then in 7.32b, they made her Spirit Siphon way better. This ability at level 2 is disturbingly good. At level 4, it's so strong, and so I think this hero is in a great place right now. It's just a solid hero. You can pick it literally every single game. I honestly think Death Prophet has very few bad matchups in Dota as a whole. And so, yeah, if you want to spam a hero, I would recommend it. By the way, you might have saw that I had this pulled up briefly. That was intentional. You don't have to pause the video to see how much money I've made. Oh, baby. I'm getting rich off you guys. Oh, yeah. But thank you for the support. I just had this pulled up because the Prophet video popped off. It was the best video of the last 10, and a lot of the videos have been doing great. So thank you for all the support. We've also gained almost 1,500 subscribers in the last 28 days, which is insane. The view duration is extremely high, so you guys are engaged in the content. And yeah, so thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoy, and let's get into the video. So in terms of starting items for this game, it's pretty oriented around the lane. I'm against the Luna Undying, so I expect a lot of spells to be casted on me. Therefore, I don't get to go the build I prefer, which is 2 null components and a Fairy Fire. That gives you 4 more damage, 3 or 4 more damage than the current build I have. However, that's important because every little ounce of damage, especially against a hero like Luna that has 59 damage with no damage item, just a bunch of stats, and then eventually gets more damage, it becomes very important that you have as much damage as possible so you can contest CS against these really top tier players, but just in general, it is important. So against Undying, this is a matchup that's weird. I don't necessarily think it's DP favored. I think it gets, actually, DP is one of the only heroes I think does okay against Undying later on into the lane, but specifically I level my E. Now, I'll basically never do this, and the reason why is Death Prophet wants to shove the wave into the enemy, especially with her bad movement speed. She doesn't want to be chased down and run at, but Undying kind of just doesn't care, and he just runs at you no matter what. And so specifically what I do is I bait him in, and then when he commits extremely hard, right? So I don't even go for the Spirit Siphon there, because he didn't commit that hard yet, right? He didn't all in on me. He didn't even cast really a Decay. Honestly, this Undying was kind of trash. He was ranked 500. But either way, so we're hitting the Luna a little bit, kind of looking to bait the Undying in, and I only use my E when he commits hard. And this is something I specifically do in the matchup, because you'll notice it gives me, how much HP is it? I don't know. Actually, I do know. It's 150 health, which is really significant. It is a 36-second cooldown, but honestly, it's a lot of HP. And so you're going to lack on the early CS. Like, not taking the Q feels pretty horrible because you can't secure the range creep. You need your support to do it. And honestly, I almost always nuke the first melee creep to constantly keep the wave into the enemy and put pressure. Because if I shove the wave into the enemy, I can auto-attack more. And Death Prophet has really good attack range at 600, one of the highest in the game, and a good animation as well as pretty good base attack. Pretty good base attack time. So this hero can kind of just poke as I go for a long range CS there. But yeah, my overall early CS in this lane wasn't great. It's kind of just the Undying effect. Not much you can do about it. If I didn't take my E, he would have been able to bully me too easily, and so I had to be a little bit careful about that. But from there, I'm going to continue to help my support with the Undying. One of the benefits of DP, you can kind of just always shift over and help zone out the position 5 as I nuke through the range creep. But really, we haven't gone into the fun part yet. This is the fun part. So a couple things to note. I'm going a Falcon Blade build here. This is something I've seen a lot of pro players do. In particular, 33 is the player that I think popularized the build. Either way, why do you go Falcon Blade? Well, the build-up is really nice, and let's start there. I have a Sage's Mask. The Circlet doesn't build into it, but it was just kind of like a starting item stats thing. But you immediately rush the Sage's Mask, and then a Fluffy Hat, and you can sit at full HP with a ton of mana. And Spirit Siphon is a straight up broken ability at level 2. Once you hit level 2 Spirit Siphon, it's broken. Read the numbers. It's 50 damage per second. This is some basic math for you guys. It's 50 damage per second for 6 seconds. How much damage is that? 3 minutes into the game. How much damage is that? Yeah. You guessed it. 300! It's 300 damage. And you get 2 of them. And it heals you for 300. So you might be thinking to yourself, if that's correct, how does anyone lane into DP? And you figured out the answer. You don't. I mean, you can. Some heroes can, but it's really, really hard. And so what I recommend, I don't really want to use it on Undying here. I think I do because he commits kind of hard. But like, look at this guy's HP. Even though I don't commit on him hard, he's kind of just getting shredded. And the thing is, I don't have to care about tanking the creep wave because the Spirit Siphon just overheals you like crazy, right? Like, look at my HP. Just look at my HP. It's like, it's crazy. You don't realize how crazy it is until, like, you watch the replay and you're like, wow, this trade wasn't even close. And same thing with Luna. Luna walks up here to get a melee creep CS, and it's like, oh, surely she doesn't just die from full HP. Well, actually, she didn't die from full HP, but it doesn't matter, right? Of course it doesn't matter. And you might be like, oh, but it's a long cooldown. It's really not. It's a 34-second cooldown. Every single minute, you get 2 of them, right, approximately. And so it's really not a problem. And the Luna is just completely bullied off the creep wave, right? She can't lane because my Siphon's coming up again in 10 seconds. I'm full HP, she's not. It's a very straightforward concept. I don't need to dive her. I don't even need to try to kill her at this point. I just need to keep the lane back. And as long as I keep the lane back, I'm not using very many Qs at this point. Even to get really advanced, this is getting really, really, really advanced. But I was actually upset to Q here, and I feel like I shouldn't have. I did it to make sure I could secure both of the CS, but I felt bad about it because I don't want to shove the wave at all. I want to keep it back for as long as humanly possible because I know Luna, she can't jungle yet, and she can't contest me up here, right? She needs the wave to be back, so I felt really bad. I even auto-attacked there, which was low skill as well. I even didn't deny this range. I think I was looking to kill Undying, but yeah, that was really bad. That was a really bad play. So I played that whole sequence kind of mediocre, where I just didn't keep the lane back. And you don't need to win. You don't need to win the lane based on kills. Like, look at the CS. Just based on pressuring her, I'm 25 and 14. Like, to be fair, I'm really good at last hitting. That sounds so cocky. I'm very good at last hitting. I guess I won't be humble here. I'm good at last hitting. And so, if you get good at last hitting and then learn just to use the level 3 spike to push them off the wave, you'll get kills. Because bad players will run up. They're not going to know that they die, right? They're going to be half HP. They're going to walk up. They're going to feed. You're going to kill them. No problem, right? No problem. So, I'm not committing. I'm just kind of keeping the wave back. You know, even there, I'm like watching my Dawnbreaker, but with the Falcon Blade, I can easily kind of just keep the wave where I want. Unfortunately, they got off a pole, which was shitty. But the lane's been won at this point. You know, could it be better? Yeah, obviously, you can see that it could be even better. If we were professionals and I was laning with like my teammate, or for instance, then it could be even worse because I could keep the lane back more consistently. And just keep in mind, things only get worse because every single skill point of Spirit Siphon increases the damage by 150, right? So then your E, she has 595 HP, it does 450 damage. No, it doesn't. It's resisted by 25%. I'm not going to try to do the math. You get the point. It's like you can't lanes. And even here with 3 Siphons, I was looking to use it on her. And the way you get off a good Siphon is you just watch if they're going for a CS or not. It's very straightforward. If they're going for a CS, you'll get a good Siphon. So here, I could have linked her, and maybe it would have been okay, but she wasn't really committed. I want to wait until she's committed on her brain on something. And really, that's... this is how I do it every time. I just wait till their brain is committed. He's committed on this melee creep, goes hard on it. They think this trade is going to be favorable for them because they don't understand my hero. And, yeah, actually, they did a pretty good job kiting here. I will say that the opponents here did a great job of kiting. The Undying did a great job of disengaging there, so that was really high skill on his part. But unfortunately, Luna didn't end up disengaging, and we were able to pick up the kill. So even though they have literally one of the best lanes in the game, like, Undying Luna is literally one of the best lanes in Dota. It just straight up doesn't matter. And, yeah, it's... obviously it's a disaster. And at this point, when you level up the ability, the charge restore time goes down by 3 seconds as we easily kill off the Undying here. Even though this hero is stupidly tanky, DP has enough damage. We hit 6, pop the ulti, Luna's out of position, finish off the tombstone. This was a bit... I tried to de-aggro earlier. I should have moved more to the left. I don't know why I went so close to the tower. That was kind of low skill. But I tried to de-aggro earlier here. Unfortunately, it just didn't go off right away. So I don't know how. De-aggro is so wonky sometimes. But we force rotation. And yeah, this lane, not great for the Luna. She's 1,000 gold down. Now, in terms of items, there's 2 builds I would recommend. I would either recommend the build I go here, which is a phase boots variant, and it's based around dominating the early game in a chase down manner. So I'm going to be getting very aggressive. I also picked up a windlace and a raindrop. And the reason why movement speed is so great on DP now is it's percentage based from your ultis. So when you have your ulti active, you get extra movement speed, and even when it's down and just casually, if you have the ability skilled, it gives you 12% movement speed. And that obviously gives you, you know, it's not much from windlace. It's like, what is it, like 2 or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's not that much, but it adds up. It adds up quick, and it's all about just kind of being as fast as possible, because the hero is about kiting in and out, and it's also about baiting rotations, because you're unkillable. Like, I always max out Siphon, basically no matter what, I max it out, because 4 charges with lower restore time is just insane. You can even use the ability to farm if you want. It works on creeps. Like, if there's no target to heal off of, you can use it on creeps to live. Which I've done plenty of times in a sticky situation. So for instance, I get ganked here, and it looks bad. It's like Tombstone, their mid laners ganking me, but I got the raindrops, I got a magic wand, I got a falcon blade, 1200 HP, 9 minutes into the game, with a bunch of spear siphon charges, and this guy's dying. He's just dying, and the Luna, look at the Luna, she's just dying. Like, she's going on me here, and she's straight up dying. So the other build you can go is a Aether Lens variant, which I actually respect and like a lot. I've tried it as well. It feels good. And the reason why it feels good is Siphon is so broken right now at level 4 that if they can't break the Siphons, you're not going to die. And so the Aether Lens Rush gives you mana, which your hero actually desperately needs. You have some major mana issues, which is why I like Raindrop, Falcon Blade, and Magic Wand to really help out with that. But you'll see the good players in particular will kite out the Siphons, even though they didn't honestly do it perfectly here. The Luna tanked way too much. But they try to gank me, they bring their mid, they bring their safe laner. Now all of a sudden their safe laner is literally 300 health. He's very susceptible to being ganked. The Undying is half HP, which is inconvenient. The Invoker made his rotation, which failed. And I'm just chilling. I pop a Clarity, I buy my Voidstone for Yules, which it's a great game for the Yules. Basically, it's good against Invoker combo. And it kind of just helps you buy time, like, because your Siphons heal you when you're in Yules if you have them going. So it's kind of my favorite snowballing item / mana item, and I wanted a mana item, and I was snowballing, so I really felt that this was appropriate for the game. The other item build I could have went is just a Kaya-Sange Rush, which would be good this game too because they have a DK, and against hard stuns, Yules can be bad because you can get bursted before you get it off, where the Sange can kind of prevent that, as I get ganked again. And, you know, I talked about baiting rotations and that being a good idea. Well, you'll see here, unfortunately, I didn't get chain stunned by the Lesh, who I think disconnected here or something. I wouldn't have died even if he didn't disconnect. But I get gone on. It's just not even close. Like, yeah, it's just not even close. I mean, even if this guy hit me with the chain stun, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, let's be real. This wasn't gonna kill me. Like, he TP'd in. They just don't have the damage. Even though this DK is freaking huge. This guy's a Midas. Maybe if he didn't buy Midas, they would have killed me, but he probably felt like he had to carry the game. Even if this guy did hit the stun right away, I don't think it would have mattered. I wouldn't have gotten bursted. I would have gotten off all the Siphons. And yeah, anytime you know you're not going to die, which is why this build is so important, because you want to be able to pop your Exo in response to them going on you. That's best case scenario, because then they've committed their stunts and slows, and you can turn and chase them down without them being able to get them off of you. And so this is best case scenario. It really, really is. Triple Siphon coming out here, and yeah, they just have to run. And it's very hard to run, because after the Flesh Golem ends, you'll see with Phase Boots active, 493. With Phase Boots down, 453. Why do I have 458 now? Oh, I have Bloodlust. Okay, it's a bit jacked up. I was like, this seems a little high. I'll keep it real. But the point is you can push into these numbers even when this ends, right? Okay, now my ulti ends, so you can't really see it. But still, a 427 movement speed with phase, 392 without is just, you're just zooming around the map. And I play very greedy. Anytime your ulti's down, keep it simple. I do make a rotation to mid here. I felt like the enemy team was overcommitting pretty hard. But there's a couple of reasons why I really am happy to make this play. Number one, I'm strong because I'm doing well. And number two, I've cleared the wave. So I've cleared the main farm that DP wants. She can jungle, but it's kind of meh. One of my favorite plays is to pull the large camp over to here after I've cleared the wave, because you kind of don't jungle that fast and it takes a lot of mana to do it. Even though they actually heavily buffed Crypt Swarm, they heavily buffed Crypt Swarm. This hero got massively buffed because it's 15 less mana and you click this ability like crazy, so it really does add up. It's a huge difference, super noticeable. But I TP mid here, really nice chains from the Ember, beautifully done. Get a double siphon, don't walk in DK stun range. And we pick up a really nice triple kill for the Ember. Also in this game, I decided to go a weird build variant. I took the 30 damage talent, and with Falcon Blade and Phase Boots, you hit for a pretty shocking 150, which is obviously something. Like, you'll see when I auto-attack this Undying, it actually kind of chunks him. Even here, with a different build, this auto-attack I don't think would have killed. Like, he has a decent chunk of HP left. This isn't like 1% HP. He's at 72 health, and the auto kills him, which is definitely impressive for a DP after resistances. And it even comes into play in a bit here as we get off a nice siphon onto the Invoker. You don't even need your ulti to fight, really. And look at this Leshrac. I just hit him with a 150 auto. Okay, to be fair, I was breathe fired. But yeah, you don't even need your ulti to fight necessarily. So the next thing to understand about Death Prophet is that Exo level 2 is your best timing in the mid game. So the reason why is the ability scales incredibly well. The passive and active movement speed stack on top of each other, right? So when you ulti, you get a bonus 8% movement speed in total on the skill up, which is a ton, right? 8% of 400 is what, like 32 movement speed or something like that? And so that's a ton, right? That's a ton of movement speed. It's really going to allow you to keep your siphons going, get on top of people with Exo and so on. But most importantly, the spirits literally double. They straight up double. The damage on the spell straight up doubles. It's that straightforward. And so, anytime, like, level 1 Exo shreds people. Level 2 Exo removes them from the game. And you'll see that play out in a moment here. So we're going to go Roche. It's a very common play. Basically, you're so strong with level 2 Exo that you force people into the play, right? You kind of just force them to run at you. So here, I don't know, my team is kind of griefing out. I literally bait the Flesh Golem, bait the Tomb. I'm like, I'm so good. I baited out 2 key spells. Let's retreat and do Roche. And then my whole team was not on the same page because they're terrible. Nah, but they run in. I guess I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going in. And this is classic Exo. Invoker dead. Kill off the tombstone. Luna's like, oh, I want to do something. Joke's on you, buddy. She dies too. Next on to the DK. We catch him out. Okay, no, this was stupid. I chased too far here. Don't. Exo is running out. It does run out. It's a 35-second duration. I should have just went back to the Roche pit and finished that off. But pretty weird fight for my team either way as I run away here because I'm so fast. But yeah, you just shred people. Really, the only key to Exo is just not getting it baited out. So, like, you want to let the enemy team commit before you go in. Or you need, like, a hard initiator to guarantee that the fight's going to happen. To be fair, in pubs, people basically never disengage, and so you can Exo and almost always get a fight. But just make sure you don't get bursted. Woo! Like, I'm not going to get bursted at this point in the game because I have a Sange and 2k HP, so I have status resist. But you got to be a little bit careful because you're probably not going to be 9.2k net worth 17 minutes in most games. I'm 10-1 with 109 CS at 17, so it's a bit extreme. And here's what I mean by you just force them into the level 2 Exo. Pop the Roche, make them come to Papa, and then we get a nice silence here. Unfortunately, I was so confused why I couldn't get my silence off. Now that I'm looking at back, Roche bashed me, dude. Come on. Because this guy got off Tombstone and his ulti, and I could have prevented both of them if Roche didn't bash me, which would have made this fight so easy. But whatever. either way, I go in with the siphons, like just shredding them. Get a really nice Crypt Swarm on the floor. It's so hard to fight Roshan Dyer now. Like, you literally just get stuck in this area. You straight up get stuck. You just get funneled in. Imagine we had an Echo Slam there. Whew! Either way, we get a really nice chains on the 2-year. I just kited out the Eclipse a little bit. Went back in as it was ending. Good siphons here. Clean up the fight. One more siphon onto the DK. I get Vesseled, but I got the Yules. And we pushed them away. So, basically, solo killed. Honestly, I did the most damage in that fight. There's no way I didn't. There's no way. It was probably not even close. Yeah. It's just not even close. Like, this hero, it just pumps damage. Now, in terms of talents, if I'm going Kaya Sanj, and basically, I'll either go Blink after Yules, or I'll go BKB, or I'll go Kaya Sanj. If I'm Giga Snowballing, and I don't think they counter me, which they don't have, like, some early Scotty or anything like that. Like, this Luna's just not farmed enough for that to be the case. Wow, she is so poor. That's insane. But if there was, like, a Terrorblade with an early Scotty, I might go for an early Blink to get around him and go on his teammates. Or I'll go at BKB just to kind of avoid some magic damage so I can maybe even stick on top of the DP or the TB in that case. But this game, I go Kaya Sanj. And the reason why I love the Kaya Sanj when I'm snowballing like this is because it gives you infinite mana. And then you can take Crypt Swarm cooldown at 15. Now, Spirit Siphon damage and heal is great. It's an extra 180 damage per Siphon. But, I don't know, at this point in the game, I just prefer having these constant Crypt Swarms. It makes it a 3-second cooldown, which in fights, you're just nuking. And then when it comes to pushing waves and farming, you can farm and connect with your team way faster, right? So you can kind of just get out on the map and split push and take neutrals better. It just feels really, really nice, and it allows you to be way more of an explosive player. So I really like this talent choice. This was... I don't even know what this was. This is some trolling. I'm like 1v9 here. I was definitely going to... I have no comment. Let's move on to the next clip. And what's kind of cool about this build and this talent choice is that even if at some point in the game you don't have Exo, you can kind of just be this cool nuker, right? Because with the Kaya Sanj, my nuke is doing 348, which is pretty impressive, right? And it's literally just a 0-second cooldown, so you'll see me spamming it in this fight. And it's very important that to be the best possible player you can become, that you're using your spells basically as frequently as you can. Like, even here, I'm not perfect, right? I do nuke basically right away here. You'll see as my spells are coming up. I wanted to kill the Tombstone, but I couldn't. It's on this hill. But I immediately cast all my spells, probably in the wrong order. I don't know why I prioritized Silence. That was low skill. There's, like, no reason to silence the Luna. Even I didn't know she had Manta, but even if she didn't have Manta, it just kind of wouldn't matter. And then, yeah, we get off her spells, another Crypt Swarm, and then another Crypt Swarm. And so we're basically just nuking as much as we can. Another Crypt Swarm into our E, into an auto, we take him out. And so if you get good at this, if you really spam the spells, then it's an extremely noticeable talent, and it's good for farming. So I am a big fan of this build. And you can go Octarine as your final item with this, like, this is like the 1v9 build, like no BKB. Most games you kind of need a BKB at some point, whether or not it's first item. Like some games I buy it first item if the enemy team is just all magical and I feel like I have to hardcore frontline, then I might do that. But I really don't like to on DP. It feels kind of garbage most games, especially with the nerfs to BKB. So this is my favorite build to go. Actually, I really like the Octarine Bots build. If you want to try a really fun build, go Octarine Bots on DP. That build is so fun because you can farm so much and so quickly, and you have Exo a lot, so you can fight a lot as well. But all right, let's get into the last fight of the game. The game's basically done after this point. We get the Roche. They're too late. I didn't even have to Exo for this one. We have a Huskar. But main thing here, I'm just checking for BKBs and I'm checking for Dispels. So in the late game, you just want to know if they can get rid of Silence. If they can't, you probably can kill them. It's a 6-second Silence. Most heroes can't deal with that if they can't Dispel it. And so you'll see as I Exo here, I should have known before the fight starts, but you'll see this is my player perspective. I actually will check the Invoker's items, but I should have checked it way faster because I could have gotten my Blink canceled. But I did figure out that he had no BKB, and as a result, maybe I did know actually. No, I think I knew. Did I not even click on his items here? I would have sworn I did. It's besides the point, obviously. It doesn't... Oh, no, I did check there. It's just really fast. It It's crazy when you play so much Dota, you can just figure out what people's items are with like literally a glance. Like I'll play it in slow motion here because I barely could even like watching the replay. It's hard to do it, but I quickly click on him just to see if he has it. Like literally, it's where even was it? Did I miss it? Damn. Oh yeah, right there. Okay, I thought I was going insane for a second, but like. Just with the glance, I see no BKB, no Dispel. I'm like, alright. I just completely ignored this DK because I don't need to try to kill him. I do a lot of damage to him, actually. The only thing is the ulti is physical, so it is resisted by armor, so it doesn't do that much to DK. Where someone like Invoker, who has low armor and no Dispel, is the perfect target. He just evaporates in the silence duration. Lesh is next. We take him out. Luna just evaporates. I'm dying to follow. And, yeah, like, look how much... Look before he even gets off his Glimmer, how much Exo does. It's just a crazy ability, right? By the way, Exo definitely... don't quote me on this, but I'm almost certain it prioritizes what you cast your spells on, the spirits, that is. But, like, he took half HP before you could basically even react. And, yeah, that's the power of the DP. But, alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you're inspired to play a little bit of Death Prophet. I definitely think this hero is extremely good right now, and it's a cool pick. Also, I will be trying to make videos on different roles eventually, so don't think that this channel is like offlane only or something. I'm sure most of you guys aren't really thinking that, but I just had the thought in my head. I'm like, I've been making so many offlane videos, and it's because I'm an offlane player. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'm out. Peace. I'm recording, right? I'm not in crack. Okay. Oh, my webcam's way too small. People are going to be like, what? Why did it get randomly bigger?